Justin Gatlin is the latest in a long line of sprint sensations to emerge from the USA.
Gatlin got a good start. Look at this man coming through now. Gatlin. What a fantastic performance from Gatlin. It's all about Gatlin.
Ultimate goal is to be one of the best sprinters in history.
And what a fantastic performance from Gatlin. And look at the time.
It's the American leading the Jamaican at the moment.
He knows he is the world champion.
Justin Gatlin is the world champion here in London.
What's up, everybody? We back with another episode of Ready, Set, Go. We in the building. You know who I'm with. My main man, my ride or die, the bearded wonder himself. You know what? I'm going to let you do the honors, man.
Man, listen, we got my fan. I'm a fan favorite of this young lady.
Ours?
I'm a fan favorite of this young lady. Man, I'm going to say young lady because she still looks young, man. The legendary 100-meter gold champion, 100-meter hurdle champion, the dynamic, legendary Miss Gail Devers. Welcome to Ready, Set, Go with me.
Without
Justin.
I love that. Oh, I love the bearded one. That was cool. I like that.
You always going to be my queen of the sprint. So just letting you know.
Thank you.
For sure. So, Gail, where do we even start? I mean, we look at your roster of all your accolades that you had. 5-time Olympian.
Five.
Wait.
That means
Olympian.
I'm old.
Wait. that doesn't
I'm like
mean
the grandmother.
That doesn't mean she's old.
Yes.
I want our fans to hear, like, from one of the strongest nations in the country, 5-time Olympian from America is very hard because they run like the Olympics, then the Olympics. So being a 5-time Olympian, no shade to any other country, is hard to do in America. So
I feel blessed. I definitely feel blessed that throughout my career that I was able to go 5 times. Like you said, you just don't know after every 4 years if you're going to have that opportunity to go again. So
after let's back it up before we get to the greatness, right? How did you even get into sports? Like, how did it start for you?
I had a brother and a god brother who beat me up and told me telling it all. Told me they were gonna make me run. And they used to come to the house and we had like 2 bicycles and that was it. And they'd take the bikes and go to the park to like play basketball and think, okay, they don't want the little sisters tailing after them. And I guess they thought that was gonna stop me. Me and the little dog, here we go. We run. By the time they get there, a little bit afterwards, I get there too. And I didn't want anything. I'm just following them. And so just all the time. Then we live in these apartments. And the apartments, how it has the little slide and the little ponies and stuff. They used to say, okay, go up the slide, run down the slide, jump over the little horses. And so me, like a little dummy, I do anything my brothers tell me to do. So I did it. And they had me racing against all the kids in the neighborhood and I'd beat them. I always tell people, I kid you not, my brother, I know he was making money off of that. He just didn't give me my cut. So I have issues with that. But that's how I started. And then when I got to high school, he said, you're running. And I was like, no, I'm not. I was like one of those kids that like to stay in the house and read books and stuff. He was like, you're running. And I said, no. He said, yes, he's bigger than me. So I ran. I started off with cross country.
Oh, wow.
And I ran cross country. And then when track season came around, I was like, there's no way I'm running 2 miles on this track. It's not going to happen. And so each year somebody would suggest that I try a different event. So I started with the 800. I ended up running like 208. 209 in the 800.
How old were you?
15. I started track and field when I was 15. Yeah, whoa. I started at 15, and then the next year somebody would suggest that I try a different event. So I went from event to event, and then I got to the 100 and the hurdles, and I was like, oh, straight away, no curve, no this, no that, and that's kind of where I stayed.
Wow, so you basically like track and field was like a buffet for you. It's like, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try that.
It is. And I tell kids, be willing to try anything because you don't know where your talents lie.
Sure.
You really don't. I mean, even now I go back and I run half marathon, but 10Ks, 5Ks and stuff now just to stay in shape.
You do?
I do. I just finished the Peachtree.
I seen that.
I did the Peachtree Road Race in July.
Yeah, so you still have the endurance in you still?
I guess. Yeah. I didn't know, but I guess I went from couch to running. So yeah.
You would know that if you follow her.
Listen.
Yeah, no.
You're so wrong.
I'm going to follow her. You know what? I'm going to follow her at the next Peachtree marathon. Because I'm definitely not going to be in front of her on that one.
You talking about he a fan. He ain't no real fan.
Stop. You guys are hilarious. I love it.
So what you got, man?
I said, man, listen. So after your transition, man, I want to know, like, how did you end up training with Bobby Kersee? How did that happen? Like,
Oh,
how did that
Bobby.
transpire?
Okay, yeah, that's a story within itself. So coming out of high school, so first of all, coming out of high school, I was the first female from my high school to get a scholarship. So I'm a Title IX baby,
Hey.
which I love. And I was actually recruited by a football coach who had come to the school to look at our football players. And he went back and told the people at UCLA, hey, there's this girl with these long white socks. And I don't know why. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know why I wore long white socks. I had big calves and I thought I was hiding them, but that kind of only made it worse. So, but that's how people kind of knew me in high school, the girl with the big white socks on, long socks. So I was recruited. And when I got there, the coaches that reached out to me, it wasn't Bobby, he wasn't there yet.
Okay.
But the coaches that reached out to me, I was like, okay, this is where I want to go. And then I signed my letter of intent and then they were gone.
To what school?
UCLA.
So what event were you doing that caught their attention though at that time?
I had run so in San Diego, we have like we have CIF. So we had CIF, which is like our region, whatever. I had the records in the 800, the 400, the long jump, the 300 hurdles, the 100 hurdles, and the 100.
So everything.
And so I don't know what caught their attention, but they went back and told them, and I came and because I would go to, I think at state meet, or I know our regions meet, I ran 4 events and I won those 4. And then our state meet, I did the same. I think I came in second. No, I won 4 whatever. I came in second at state one year, second or third by myself because we didn't have a team. Well, by the time we got there for females, it was just us. And
you came in second as an individual against other teams.
Second, because I had 40 points.
Oh yeah.
So
10
it was,
points.
40 points. So I don't know if it was second or third place. So you have to ask somebody in San Diego.
You acting like that's foreign. You almost did that for Woodham, bro. What you talking about?
I did.
I was about to get on him, but I'm just letting, since this is his podcast, I'm letting him be him, But okay, we're going to talk about your accolades too.
But sorry, so you did all those events.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite event?
I don't think I have a favorite,
Even
be
to
honest.
this day?
To this day. I mean, I like challenges.
Okay.
So the hurdles was always a challenge because of my height. And then the 100 was always a challenge because it's just pure speed.
True.
And you just got to go. And I didn't have, when I started training for the 100 and the hurdles, it was just that. I tried to train like a 400-meter runner, but I didn't run the 400 or the 200 anymore, really, unless Bobby just decided to throw me in that event. So it was just a challenge, and I like challenges,
So your height didn't even deter you from doing hurdles. You like, I don't even care. It's a challenge.
It's I just lower them, and everybody else might do them at a certain height. I lower it and still get the job done. And for me, it was like, okay, well, you're short, so if you make a mistake, so you're gonna have to get that knee up to your chest, and then step off of it and run. So, I mean, there's things I know now that I wish I had known back then. I think it would have been a little better for me, but it is what it is.
She said a little bit better.
Because I mean, it might help some of our younger kids.
Just and you watch it. I teach the kids that I train now. I mean, we were always formed. It was almost like taking a picture in the hurdles, and now it's like, no, just run. Just run like you're sprinting, and you're just gonna make that slight adjustment or whatever. But I think for me, because of my speed, I pause more than I should have over the hurdle, trying to make sure I cleared it, especially if you Google Gail Devers famous fall, you know what I'm talking about. So it's just a matter of just when you know better, you do better. And that's what we're trying to teach this next generation.
Absolutely. So your mindset is that you love to conquer challenges.
I do.
You love to be able to go out there no matter what is in front of you, be the best at what you, be the best you.
Be the best you. I mean,
Okay.
I always tell people, everybody wants to be successful, but what does that mean? Everybody can't own the company. Everybody can't make all the money. Everybody can't come across the finish line in first place, but everybody can be a winner by your efforts. And if you give all that you can give, that's the best, and you can't ask for any more. I always tell people, I look in the mirror after every task, no matter what it is, and I ask myself, did you do everything that you could do? And if the answer is yes, I'm successful, and I don't care what anybody says. When I fell over that hurdle, I did my best. I was trying to get to the finish line. Now, next time, maybe it'll be on my feet, but I'll take it to my grave. I was successful in that meet because I did all that I could do to get across the finish line at that moment, at that time.
Definitely.
I think what's crazy about that meet, that's 92, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You won the gold in 92.
I won the gold in the 100 meters.
In the 100
yes.
meters.
Yes.
So you would have achieved the feat in that event, and that Olympics would have been unheard of. You would have got the gold in the 100-meter hurdles, and you would have got a gold in the 100 meters. Do you think in this era right now, like a lot of the athletes now shy away from that? Because I think you showed that I don't want to be a box athlete. I want to challenge myself. I want to try this. Can there be more athletes like how you were? Or
I think it can be. I mean, when I ran, people talked about the fact that, why are you trying to do both? Just concentrate on one and give your all in one. But that's not me. And I have no regrets. That fall made me get up and go again. So had I accomplished those feats, I probably would have been done. I always told people I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be this, and doing it my way, I would have been in a classroom. But doing it the way it happened, which I assume is God's way, I am a teacher. I have the world as my classroom. It's up to me what I say. So, and then not getting that made me go back to the drawing board, get my little sticky notes back out and write. I always write my goals down, and then I sign my goals. And people are like, why do you sign it? Because word is bond. And it's a contract that I have within myself to say that I'm willing to do what I need to do to get the job done. And so from there, it was, okay, what can I do? You know, you're on this natural high. I wanted to go back. So I remember in 1993 it was called the Great Ones. And we gave an award. I was able to give an award to Wilma Rudolph with Coach Temple and Wyoming Attias, which are those are my legends. Those are the ones that thankfully before they passed, I was able, Wyoming and I, still keep in contact every time on her birthday or whatever, but I was able to tell them thank you for what they did. And I want it to be in their lives. I remember Wyoming, and I ask people, do you know who it is? And they don't. So I give everybody a history of who she is. She was the only one to win back to back. She won it in 60 and 64, 64 and 68. And before that, there was no one. And I remember after that sitting next to her, I'm like, I want my name in the record books next to you. And I was actually playing when I said it. And she said, you should. And I went home and I wrote that as my goal, and I started training. And training doesn't mean it's going to happen. Wanting it doesn't mean it's going to happen. But putting forth the effort, and if it happens, that's a dream come true. So that was another dream come true of mine. And had I won in 92, I may have retired and went on to teaching and been done with it.
Well, what she's talking about is she's the second one, 92, 96, Olympic gold medalist in the 100 meters.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So I just want to clarify. I encourage all of our viewers, if you don't know, she's very not celebrated in my own opinion, but I think you guys should Google Gail Devers and look at all of her achievements all the way from, I think your first team was 87?
87, yes.
87.
That's funny because Michelle Finn just sent me some pictures. I'm like, oh my gosh, you went way back. Way back. Those are like blackmail
where you get
shots.
these pictures from?
Yeah, I was like, Michelle, what you going through?
From 87, man. Let's talk a little bit about that after making your first team. What was that like making that first Pan American? I think it was in Indianapolis?
Yes, I made Pan American team, and then I made the World Championship team later on that year. It was, it's like you set goals for yourself, and you set goals and you work to achieve those goals. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, and that doesn't make you any less of a person that just, at that moment, it was not yours. And my best example, I tell people, was in 92, the hurdles. Mm-hmm. Because if anybody knows the history of the Olympics, it started in Greece. Mm-hmm. But Greece had not won a medal in anything. And that race, when I fell, they won the gold medal. Everything happens for a reason.
Wow.
It happens for a reason. For her, it set her up. I just saw somebody, I do a lot on health initiatives. So I was just speaking to some neuro-ophthalmologists in the Netherlands last week. And a gentleman came up to me and he said, she has never had to run since then. I said, I guess not. I understand that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
It's funny how things happen that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like your fall helped not only her, but the whole country and their history achieve their first and ever gold medal.
First and ever. And so, so you can't say, oh my gosh, that was mine. It was not yours.
Wow.
Destiny is what it is. Mm-hmm. And what it did for me was it encouraged me and prompted and motivated me to go back to the drawing board, figure out what I did wrong, and then keep it moving. I always tell people that last hurdle jumped up and got me. I didn't fall, so that's what happened.
You
It
were
tripped
beating
me.
them by like almost 10 meters. It was like...
Yeah, statisticians
so-
say that it would have been an very interesting time, but it is what it is.
And just so you know, interesting time, heard your PB is what, 12:33?
Yes.
12:33, which still would have medaled in most world championships and Olympics to this day. Which is crazy.
I mean, look, we're gonna be honest, man. These women today, not taking any respect away from them,
None.
they work to get to that 12-3. They work hard. When they come across the line, they're happy with running 12-3. That's an achievement within itself. Gail was already doing that.
It's crazy. Your 12:32 would have been ranked 4th in the world right now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
4th in the world. It was just
Yeah.
12:24, 12:25, 12:31.
And if you
then
think about it,
12:33.
and if you think about it, any championship, because there's been a boom of a lot of 12-3s and 12-2s lately, right?
Mm-hmm.
But before this generation,
Yeah, 12-4.
you would have
12-6.
won
Like you were the
every
standard.
championship with that time. Yes.
Another
Yes.
crazy stat, 1081.
Yes.
A 1081 is in a -1 win, which is crazy. Meaning you possibly could have
See,
ran.
I know. I don't know why I
Possibly.
always had negative wins in my races.
I know, right?
I'm like, because, now everybody, you can look it up and figure out what it would have been. I was like, how come all my good races were always negative win? I was like, okay.
So that means that 1081 with a -1 probably would end up being like 1075 or something like that. But what you seen the shoes today?
Somebody was talking
you
to me
seen the
about the
tracks
shoes.
today.
I haven't put them on though. Have you tried the new shoes?
I have
He
tried the
hates
bubble
them.
shoes. I actually was one of the
You were
first
still-
athletes that
Okay, because
tested
you were
out the
still.
bubble
I was gonna
shoes.
say because you were still competing.
I hated it.
Really?
I hated it because, our generation was about power sprinting.
Yeah.
It was about applying the force into the ground. Now, this day and age is about frequency running.
Well, see, now the funny part is somebody was looking back at some pictures and they're like, what kind of shoes did you have on? I wore middle distance shoes when I sprinted. People were like, why? I said, because I was just used to it from hurdling. I had a lip on it. It's just, that's what was comfortable to me. So I don't even know if I would like these shoes that they're wearing now.
I didn't like them.
See, if you didn't like them, I probably wouldn't have liked them.
Even when
either.
you sprinted, you
Yes.
were...
Because I was comfortable with my middle distance shoes. So mine had,
Now,
that was
they
just
say
me.
Toby Amasan broke the world record in the Adidas middle distance shoes. They weren't the hard sprint spike that Adidas makes.
Right?
Yeah,
Because I have a really high arch, so I don't need anything to help me get up on my toes. I come out of bed like this, so so that doesn't work for me. So the hard plate I didn't really like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's just me though.
What do you feel was your biggest adversity throughout your career? Because you had a long career.
5 times. 5 times. We gotta get that on a shirt. Gail Devers was 5X on it. You're a 5-time Olympian.
Oh my goodness.
Shoot, that's
My
crazy.
biggest
Gail times
my
5.
illness.
Gail times 5.
That's funny. My illness was the biggest thing that I had to overcome. Because when my career first started off, where 87, 88, I'm supposed to be at the top of my game, ready to do what I got to do, and kind of the bottom falls out between 87, 88. I started losing weight. My hair was falling out. Not that I cut it, but at that time it was falling out. Couldn't understand it. I had just broken the American record in May of 88. And with my goals, I knew that I was going to peak. I was due to peak then and then go to nationals in college because that was my senior year in college, and then go to the trials, make the team, and then peak again when I got to Seoul. I get to Seoul and I tell people the bottom fell out. I went from running, at that time, the American record was 1261. So I had broken the American record at 1261. And I don't know if this is true. Somebody told me I was the first collegiate female to break the American record in college. So maybe it was. So 1261. And just thinking at that time when I broke the American record, I think the second place time was a distance behind. So the statisticians were saying, if you get to the games with competition, you got the world record holder, because Donkova and everyone was in that race. Yeah. What will this girl run? I get there, I don't make the final. I run slower than I've run ever.
And you didn't know why?
Didn't know why. something's wrong. I knew I was losing weight, but something's wrong. Because even at the trials, Bobby and I had to sit down and have this, come to Jesus talk and say, you're not going to make it in both. You're just not going to. I was trying for the 100 and the hurdles. And at that time, we made the decision that I think I was in the semifinal because I was in Florence's world record race. And it was like, okay, let the 100 go because you're not going to make the team. And let's try for the hurdles and see what happens. I ended up coming in second and I made the team. I tell people by the grace of God, I made the team. And we were hoping that maybe that would give me some time to figure out what's going on and get there. But it didn't. I got there and it got worse.
Wow.
And so I come back to the States and I'm, going from doctor to doctor. Because as an athlete, when something's wrong. Mm-hmm. In your heart, you can feel it. Mm-hmm. Better than the doctor that you may see once or twice a year. So I knew something was going on. This is not the goals that I set for myself, the pattern, and these are realistic goals that I prayed over, so I know they're somewhat obtainable. I don't fall off that much.
Yeah.
And so the doctors were telling me, there's nothing wrong. Maybe you peaked too many times. Are you sure you're feeling this way? Making me feel like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm looking in the mirror and I'm not even looking like the same person that I remember a couple months prior to that. I end up covering up my mirrors.
So you just deteriorating right in front of y'all.
Yes. I mean, I stopped looking at myself in the mirror because that's not the person I remember. I had lost so much weight, I stopped getting on the scale. The last time I got on the scale, it was 2 scales. One said 79 pounds, one said 82. That's a problem.
Like 82?
82 pounds, yes.
Like now, even with a 1 in front of it,
no.
You just 82
And
pounds.
my running weight was 120. 120 to 125, Bobby tried to keep me at.
Yeah.
And we couldn't figure out, why I was losing so much weight. Bobby was like, every time I see you, you better have peanut butter and jelly. I'm like, I don't like peanut butter and jelly. He said, so I don't like my food to touch and I don't like peanut butter and jelly together. I'll eat one or the other. He said, I don't care. You better have that stick to your ribs food. He and Jackie used to make me come over to the house, steak, potatoes, all the food that's going to make it stick to you, like that homegrown kind of food. I was still losing weight.
Because at that point in time, it still wasn't identified.
No, it was not identified. We didn't know what was going on.
So maybe they thought maybe it was stress or...
It could have been anything. My trademark fingernails, and yes, these are real. They were breaking. They weren't growing back. There was so much going on. If I get a sore, it looks like my face had vitiligo, like white splotches on my face.
Yeah.
And this went on for 2.5 years. I wrote Bobby a resignation letter saying, you know what? I feel like you got Florence, you got Alice, you got Valerie, you got all these great athletes out here, Jackie. I feel like I'm wasting your time.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't let me quit. They were like, nope, we don't know what it is, but you're going to be out here and we're just going to figure it out together. I mean, because he would tell me, go across the track and set up hurdles, whatever, 1, 2, 3, and leave out this. And I'd walk across and come back and I'm like, what did you say? Because I couldn't remember. And I didn't know that was one of the...
So even your mind was going there.
I didn't know memory loss was, like people call, hamster brain. I didn't know that was part of it. I just knew that I was not Gail. So for 2.5 years, I was on a search to catch up to myself because I had lost sight of me.
What was your body's failing you, right? In every way.
Yes.
What was your mind like in that moment? Because you're so strong. You go from saying, I will step to any challenge.
Yeah. And
now your body won't allow you to even remember.
It's like you want to. So my mind was still like, oh, I got this. I'm going to get out here. I'm going to do this. But I was losing so much weight. In that 2.5 to 3 years before I came back on the track, I pulled my hamstring 6 times.
What?
Because I'm jogging and you figure atrophy.
Yeah.
You have no muscle toning. You're still out here trying to run. My resting heart rate was crazy to the point. That was when Bobby stepped in. He was like, nope. Because you could have a heart attack.
You could die.
No.
And I can't have that out here. And so he just made me sit there and take my heart rate and wait and see. And it didn't come down. He sent me home. And so mentally, that becomes frustrating. Because when you set goals for yourself and you work to achieve those and you figure, I figure life is a challenge. So I just got to get over it. Yeah. I always tell people it's a hurdle.
Yeah.
And I can't go around it. I can't go under it. I got to go through it.
Yeah.
And now I can't do this. So mentally, when you want to do something, you have the desire to do something and your body is saying no, your body is failing you and you go to the medical profession and you can't get an answer. That's what makes it hard. I stopped coming out. of the house for a while because when I was out, people were like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you got the eyes, and my eyes, and I didn't even know I had a large goiter, like a big sack on my neck.
Mhm.
And then I was like, okay, once I figured that out, then I'm wearing turtlenecks everywhere because nobody told me that. People would see me and wouldn't know what to say to me.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it was called mental illness at that time.
Oh.
Or depression.
Or depression,
Yeah.
but it is.
Yeah.
And it just, as athletes, we're built different,
Mm-hmm.
but we're still like everybody else. It affects us.
You fight.
100%.
And you just got
fighting.
to keep fighting.
Yeah.
And I remember the day that I pulled down the mirror and I pulled down I covered my mirror. So I pulled the little sheet down and I said, I didn't look like this before. And I'm not going to let somebody keep me in this box. Because I felt like, you're asking mentally, how did I feel? I felt like, when you get a package from whatever and you open it up, you can never close that box back the same. I mean, even if you put as much tape, there's still that little seam.
Yeah.
And so I felt like for almost 3 years that somebody put me in a box and they sat on top of it and they invited everybody that they knew to come sit on top of that box and not let me out. The only shining light that I saw was, like I said, that you can never get it back together. There's always going to be a little seam that you can see light in. And I think that's what I held on to. And I said, this is not me, and I'm not going to stop. And I started going through my provider book and just picking names, saying, let's see if this person knows what they're talking about. And I went from doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor. And then finally, actually, I had to go up to the school, back to UCLA for something, because I had stopped going out. And I saw like our team physician who hadn't seen me in a long time. And she looked at me. And I'm thinking she's going to hug me and we're going to catch up on old times. She takes out her stethoscope and she starts examining me. I'm like, okay, this is a little weird.
Like on the spot.
Just on the spot. Like, hey, come here. And, she starts feeling, put your hands out, do this. Let me see this. And then she's the one who told me about the goiter. I said, I didn't notice it because I stopped looking at myself. So she told me all the different things, because people were asking me, are you anorexic? Are you on drugs? All kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That it was like, no, and no. And even from the onset of all this, I was having problems with my eyes. Didn't know what was going on with them. And so she gave me a test. She said, wrote down the name of a test that she wanted me to have, because this was a Tuesday, because I had another appointment on a Thursday. And I was like, you got to go with me. And she said, no, you got this. And I went in, and then I was like, you know what? At least it was a sigh of relief, because I knew something was wrong with me. And finally, somebody gave me somewhat of a shining star to say that possibly I just need somebody to confirm it. And I remember sitting there saying, okay, am I going to wait for this man to come in and tell me, I'm sorry, Miss Devers, there's nothing wrong? Or am I just going to whip out my paper? Because it's like ammo after 2 years. And so I was like, I'm going to wait. I'm just going to sit there and chill out and wait for him. And he came in. I couldn't. I gave him my paper.
You've been waiting too long.
I really tried. I was like, okay, sit on it. But I couldn't. He took the paper and he said, I don't need your little paper. I can tell you're a walking thyroid disorder. Tears. Just because it was like, oh my gosh, for so long, because I thought my career was over, and then it was a matter of what they did all these researches, scans and tests, and found out that I had Graves' disease. And in the beginning, they wanted to do surgery. And then the man said, I think she's too young for that. I think she's still in childbearing age. It was a whole process. And so they decided to go with where you drink the radiation. So, and I was like, I remember, I'm like, okay, this is good. I can do this. It just looks like water. Has no taste, but oh my gosh, it makes you sick as a dog. I remember he said, do not throw it up, or we have to start this whole process over again. It was like a two and a half week process of knowing how much to administer to me for my body size and type. And I didn't care. It was like, you know what? Where are my sticky notes? Let me pull them back down. They're a little dusty, but at least I'm not crazy, which is what I thought for so long. I'm not crazy. I'm going to get right back out there. And you know, they were like, okay, well, we don't think it's so bad. We think maybe 6 months you'll be good. Or, you know, the numbers were going, every 2 weeks I came in to be tested, the numbers were going in the right direction after I did the radiation. And
So now you knew what you was fighting.
I knew what I was fighting. I had a name, didn't like the name. I was like, we need to figure out how to change the name, and who in the world decided to name a disease Graves' disease. Yeah. I'm like, I already feel like I was 1 foot in the grave, you know? So I was like, I know it's named after him, but I'm like, we might change his name. But I was coming back. And then, so this was September of 1990 when I was diagnosed. And, you know, going through, so now fast forward to, I think this is the end of January, 1991.
Okay.
I had taken a shower, got in the bed, woke up the next morning and had blisters on my feet. And I'm like, what in the world? If it's not one thing, it's another. And I truly believe in Murphy's Law. Mm-hmm. So I woke up, I had blisters like on front of my feet, and then a big blister in the back, and one between my big toe and my second toe where I couldn't put on shoes. I go to a podiatrist, obviously, and I tell them, you know, I've been diagnosed with Graves' disease and I'm being treated for it. He said, this has nothing to do with Graves' disease. What you have is a very severe case of athlete's feet. I'm like, hold up, I am not dirty. He was like, you know, I was like, dude, I don't need you talking about that. I took a bath last night. So, but he gives me all these creams. It's not washing off. My feet are getting bigger. Everywhere, and he popped all the blisters. So everywhere that he popped, turned into a sore, which turned into a scab, which if you have a scab, you know, if you move or
it's going to crack
reopen. And there's
moisture,
like,
it peels.
The
like
pain,
white stuff, a pussy something, some oozy jelly kind of something. It had the funkiest smell in the world. And then it got to the point I couldn't put on shoes. I was getting like a men's like house shoe slipper, what we call slides today. They weren't called slides back then. So a slipper that's like a men's 11, 12, and my foot was too wide. There's a problem. I started, it was in the pain. I don't even know how to describe like excruciating pain that's that bad that you feel like. So my best example, I always tell people, like when you have like some extremity falls asleep, like your arms or your legs fall asleep, you can get that tingling sensation.
Yeah.
So that's what I had from like the knee down. And then from my ankle to the foot, it was crazy that I stopped walking. So I'm just crawling. I couldn't put on shoes, so I just wore socks. And then I looked down, because I remember Valerie telling me one day, Gail, change your socks. And you take the socks off, and my skin was coming off with it. And then there's blood, and it's just bad. So I started not going outside. Now, mind you, I was being tested every 2 weeks. So I was 1 week out to go back to my Graves' disease doctor. So it's not like people are like, oh my gosh, you let your feet go for months and months. No, I did not.
So you in a slugfest with this Graves' disease, and then this is coming up with the feet.
Yes.
So you battling two things at once.
Yes, I had no clue. I'm like, and I just feel when it rains, it pours for me. And whatever it is, you know, I used to do a lot of writing. I like creative writing because I had insomnia. So I didn't sleep. So I had a whole bunch in my head that I had to put down. And I just felt like, okay, I've got to put on this suit of armor and be on the right team. And in this suit of armor, what happens is that everything's going to come at me and it's just going ping, ping, ping. And I'm going to get over it eventually. And that's kind of what I did. And to fast track this story is that it took some time, but I went back in. The one day I went to the restroom and I was crawling to the restroom because I wasn't walking anymore because it was just too painful. And I felt like if somebody were just my foot was going to fall off at the ankle. That's how much pain I was in. So I crawled to the restroom, came back, got in my bed, and then I started itching. And I was like, oh gosh, now I'm itching. Something else. I got the hives, or I don't know what's going on. And I was like, am I sensitive? Because my knees were itching, but I had just got off the carpet. I'm like, okay, maybe now I've got sensitivity to the carpet or whatever. And so I was scratching. It wasn't crazy scratching, but scratching. Then everything started scratching. And maybe 5 to 7 minutes after I scratched, everywhere I scratched started bleeding. I was like, oh, absolutely not. I was fortunate. My brother was there to visit, took me into the doctor, and it was like a medical center. And they said, you're lucky. Had you wait, because now it's something about Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I still, after 30 years, haven't figured out what that is, but this was another Tuesday. And I had an appointment that Thursday to see my doctors again for the Graves' disease. And they said, had you waited 2 days, we probably would have had to amputate. So thankful for the hives or whatever was going on. They said I had like secondary infection and like stage something of burning. What it was, from what in layman's terms, the way I can understand it, is that all the medicine that I took had adverse effects and started with the feet and came back up. So that's not to say that if you get Graves' disease, that's going to happen to you. That's just the way my body, everybody who gets a cold doesn't get pneumonia. Right. But my body just was on its own.
So it's like
program.
the small print at the bottom of the commercials. When you take a medicine, it tells you what the adverse effects
I didn't see that.
is.
Yeah, I didn't read that part.
They read it real fast. Yes, they cause bleeding, but
they sped it up.
Like, I just really want to feel better, so I'm going to take it.
Yeah. So it is what it is. And you know what? I wouldn't have done anything any different. I'm here.
So you go through this whole crazy journey of like body just failing you. You get on the other side of it.
I get on the other side. So I'm coming back now that they've got the medication and all that. They didn't amputate my feet. So I'm thankful that I have them. I still couldn't put on shoes. But I wanted to get back out on the track. So Bobby brought out a stationary bike. And while everybody else was warming up, I'd ride the stationary bike. When they do sprints, I go faster on the bike. When they go, and they do cool down, I go slower. Couldn't get in the weight room because it just was not safe. So now this will show you that I'm the grandmother. Back in the day, we had the big telephone books, the white pages and the yellow pages that had everybody's number in it. I used to strap them to my hamstring, strap them to my calves, and I'm like doing exercises at home. That's how I did the
That's what I'm talking about.
With like for real, like yes. That's because I wanted to get back out there.
Yeah.
And that was what I needed to do. I had to be back in that environment. I had to know that it was not me. This is something that happened to me. And that, like they say, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So I felt like, okay, put the big S on my chest. I got this. Now, coming back, the crazy part was my Graves' disease was under control. It was being managed. I take medication every day for the rest of my life in order to live, because the medication that I did take destroyed my thyroid. You have to have a thyroid. It influences every cell, organ, and tissue in your body. And if you don't have it, you're in trouble.
It's a little bit of education for y'all. A little bit of education for y'all.
I take my medicine every single day. And I'm like, okay, I was, like I said, in the beginning, I was having like problems with my eyes. They were bulging. They wouldn't sleep. Even when I did sleep, when I had insomnia, but the times that I did sleep, my eyes never closed completely. They were painful. They were red. There was all kinds of stuff going on. So I figured, okay, once the Graves, because nobody ever told me anything different. So once the Graves' disease is under control, everything else is going to be fine. And it wasn't. I came back and I'm back, but I'm like, my vision's still blurry. I'm having trouble seeing the hurdles that I'm going over. And I didn't say anything because I'm like, I should be thankful to be alive. Well, what am I complaining? This must be a residual effect of the Graves' disease. So we run in rhythm anyway. 8 steps from the blocks to the first hurdle, 3 steps in between, 5 steps off the last hurdle to the finish line. Run in rhythm, get the knee up and keep it moving.
So you basically was hurdling with your eyes closed.
Listen, that's a superpower, because that's a real race. You heard, she just called it out. That's a real hurdler.
Yeah.
She know how much steps to the first hurdle, how much steps in between for 10, how much steps off the last hurdle that get it in. But she ain't telling Bobby she can't see. She like, hey, I want to run. He might tell me go home.
Yeah.
He might tell me go.
No, you know what? Bobby and I did have, but it wasn't in the hurdles. It was an incident that we had in one of the rounds at one of the games. I don't remember which one. But I was still having like the tingling and stuff like that in my feet. And I didn't run the 100 the way I was supposed to run it. Per him.
Bobby's way.
Per Bobby, yes. And I get off the track and, Bobby, what the blah, 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 blah. I'm like,
of course, yes,
we've
heard.
He said, you didn't do that. What's wrong? I said, well, I couldn't feel my legs. He said, you didn't run like you were supposed to. He said, what's going on? I said, I couldn't feel my legs. He said, what do you mean you couldn't feel your legs? I said, I couldn't feel my legs. He said, is that one of those effects? I'm like, I don't know, I guess. He said, well, can you feel your arms? I said, yeah. He said, well, then work the HELL out your arms, tell your feet to keep up. Okay. and that's what I did.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know what? You're here. So my mentality was, you're still living. You're still breathing. You take uphill every day for your rest of your life. That's a very small price to pay to have the quality of life, to be able to go out here and do the things you do. If you take that for granted, that's on you. Get your tail in gear, let's go. And that's the talk that I had to myself.
So all that she's talking about happened in 1990, correct?
1991. And I came back World Championships 1991.
Well, she came back World Championships, but she ain't telling you she got a silver medal in the World Championships.
And I was the happiest silver medalist ever. Can I just explain
That was
to
gold.
you?
It will always be gold.
Okay,
But what I'm saying,
Platinum.
right.
Vibranium.
What I'm saying is that should have derailed her. Like, I mean, she just was happy running.
Yeah.
But to show her strength and her resilience, she came back after all that 82 pounds, all the radiation, all of that, to silver medal, bro.
Yeah.
Silver medal, which is an amazing. And then for the next couple of years, you go on a terrorizing run for the next couple of years.
I told you I was trying to catch up to the old Gail Devers. Because if you look back in the history, like I said, when I left the sport, 12:61 was the hurdle time. The silver medalist ran 12:63 in 88. So they always say you're never supposed to say what woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Mm-hmm.
Could that have been my medal had I been diagnosed sooner? Maybe, maybe not. I came back in 91, and so my mentality at that point was they never showed the women's 100-meter hurdles on TV.
Wow.
Because no American had ever made the final.
Wow.
Like at a world championship. So we had like
Education.
triple play and all that kind of stuff. So they didn't show it. Why are they going to show it when back in the States when nobody's there? So I was like, I'm getting there. You know, this was 91. So I'm like, I got to make the final. I got to break up the two Eastern Europeans. I got to do that. And then I got to catch up to Gail at the same time. I had a whole bunch going on. So I had a whole bunch of sticky notes in my hotel room in Japan. And then, you know, Mike Powell, we ate breakfast that morning talking about what he was going to go do. I'm like, I'm going to be right there watching. I got you. So it was just the mentality of no excuses. Because what you don't want to do is leave the track and say, I had more. So put it all out there. So I got there and I ended up running, I don't know what my time was, maybe 12:62 maybe. And I came in second.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember everybody else went home because everybody was tired. Bobby's like, okay, everybody's going home. Everybody's going on vacation. I said, I got to go back. I'm not done. I'm like, I caught up to her, but I really didn't. Because I left at 12:61. 12:62 ain't 12:61. So by anybody's, it's good, but it's not where I need to be. I got to catch her. And then he sent me back over to Europe. I went to, I think, Germany or something like that and ran 12:48. And then I was like, okay, now I can go home because I needed to catch her and pass her. And now I just got to keep doing that. And that's been my thing. She's that person. It's Gail, but then there's the imaginary person that's in front of her that I'm going after. And that's what I keep in my head when I run.
Wow. So we always say, like you said, shoulda, coulda, woulda, right?
Right.
If you would have stayed in the sport, you probably would have took women's hurdles to a whole different level, right?
I don't know. I don't know about that. But
mathematically, the trajectory that you were going, you would have took the women's hurdles to a level to where a lot of these women are doing now. You would have been doing it then.
I think if I would have focused on just the hurdles at that point and really perfected it instead of, I was running for a different reason. I was running because this was to stay alive and this was part of it was my 9 to 5, but it wasn't, I had gone through so much. This was fun for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just out here having fun because I can.
Yeah.
I can get out here.
She said having fun, but she was out here making everybody pay for what happened in 1990. Let me tell you why. She got the silver medal. You go on the next year, 1992?
Yeah.
Indoor Worlds, you get gold. In Toronto.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm sorry, I don't know.
She like, hold on, Rolodex.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Listen, bro.
Let me check my stats.
As you know, I love you.
Look, she go and she does that.
Yeah.
And the indoor 60, not the hurdles, the 60, indoor 60 meters. Then same year, 1992. Yeah, she goes on and be the Olympic champion in the 100. So she like, oh yeah, I was sick. But y'all gonna feel all this sickness, though. I got something for you. I got something for you.
But I hopped in the sprints to work on my speed for the hurdles. And because people always say, oh, you're a hurdler. And I always tell people, stop putting titles and putting people in boxes. People always say, you're just a hurdler. I don't like the word just. So my thing is, okay, I'm just a hurdler, but I still have to run, right? And my thing was, you stand there, and if all of us are standing on the line and you take the hurdles away, I'm gonna beat you guys. I don't care. That's my mentality. So let me hop in the sprint. And if I get my tail kicked by the sprinters, I'm gonna get my tail kicked, and it's gonna help me indoors to know what to do outdoors. But then I was like, oh, I like this. I think I can do this, And I remember, my teammates were some of the best in the world.
Oh, I'd be like, shoot.
Alice Brown, at that time, I considered to be the best sprinter coming out the blocks, the best block starter. And I said, I'm gonna come out with her every single time because my goal is to get out and be one of the best block starters ever. And for 30 meters, I got to get out. For 40 meters, you got to come get me. 50, 60 meters. And that was my goal. And I'm like, you know what? They say I don't have the endurance, and you're going to have to come get me because I'm going to put enough distance that hopefully when we get to the finish line, everybody else has a 4 head. I got an 8 head. I'm going to dip my 8 head over that finish line. And a lot of my races have been won that way.
Yeah, you had that little whip.
Yeah, she cast
the
that
whip
arm.
appeal.
She cast that arm, and the head start coming down. And she did it like, listen, I know Merlene Oddie was
That's
so
my girl.
upset.
That's my
You know
girl,
what I mean?
though.
She was like, this little thing right here. And it looked like you were always one from like lane 2. Like that's your best lane.
But it's crazy because people used to like, isn't lane 4? I said, well, back in the day, if they thought you had a shot, it was lanes 4, 5, and 6. So when I came back in 92, they put me in lane 2. And I said, so I guess that tells you what they thought about me. But you know what? It doesn't matter. As long as they don't, if we're running 100 meters, as long as they don't put something in my lane and don't put it in your lane, we're still running straight.
Same point.
It doesn't matter. I'm going to get over here and I'm going to concentrate on myself. I'm going to run my zones. I'm going to move when I'm supposed to, get my arms, my feet, my legs, everywhere I'm supposed to move. Because for 2.5 years, you got to remember, I visualized this race. That's all I did. Was visualize myself coming back to track and field. That was my job, and somebody took that away from me. It's like being on top of a mountain, and they didn't gradually chisel the mountain away. They just took the mountain. I just fell. I crashed to the ground. So for 2.5 years, I visualized every single day myself coming back. Didn't care if other people thought that I could do it, because there was a lot of people who didn't think that I could do it. I saw myself having the race of my life. This is what was going through my head. I'm going to get out. I'm going to have the race of my life. I'm going to move in the middle. I'm going to do, and then even in the hurdles, I used to have a stopwatch. And I used to be, go. 1, 2, 3.
I used to do the same thing.
Because if I can do it on the clock, I'm going to figure out how to do it in real time.
Yeah.
And so I think when I came back and they did an interview, there were probably 2, maybe 3 people in the world. Greg Foster, who said in the hurdles, he didn't think, because he said, I know her, I train with her, and she gets way too close to the hurdles from the first hurdle, because we used to come out together all the time. And I'm like, I'm not letting him beat me to that first hurdle. I don't care if he started behind me, okay? And so it is what it is. So just, I think people put you in boxes. They put titles on you that I don't allow people to do. I'm like, nobody can talk for me but me. And you don't know what's in my head. You don't know what I've gone through. Even after winning, you take your victory lap. And I remember the NBC guy had the big camera and he was like, slow down. You're supposed to savor the moment. I said, you better come on, because you don't know what I've gone through. And it's, I tell people, it's not what other people believe about you. It's what you believe about yourself and what you're willing to work for and how long you're willing to do that makes the difference.
So you can say, thanks, big bro.
Yes.
Thanks, big bro.
I put on a GDI. I say thank you to my brother. I say thank you to Greg. I 3rd year I've been volunteered to put this meet on, Gail Devers Invitational, and we always do something for hurdles. I do it for, like, the first year I did it for Greg, because had it not been for him, he was the one who helped me come back.
Rest in peace, Greg Foster, one of the legends of our sport.
Yes.
You also talk about Mike Powell.
Yes.
Shout out to Mike Powell.
Definitely.
Great guy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So go ahead, man.
So you had I think Aaliyah House broke it last year. A lot of people don't know you held the indoor, she said somebody else had the best start, or we revere Shelly Ann Frazier, was one of the greatest starters, but I feel like
Pocket rocket.
you were the leader of that. Y'all being virtually the same size. You say
I'm
you're
gonna say I'm taller. Yes.
You say
Deal with that, Shelly Ann. I love you.
But I want to get everybody to understand what 695. The record just fell last year by Aaliyah Hobbs. How'd you feel about somebody else taking the reins on dipping under that 695 range in the American record? Like,
records are made to be broken. It's supposed to go down.
100%.
You're supposed to put something out there and for others to shoot for, and they're supposed to come get it. And that's what she did. And it lasted for a long time. It's funny that this year, I think Masai broke another record, and I didn't know. So I coach kids at a high school, and they're all texting in this group, Coach Gail, they said your name. They said somebody broke. I'm like, calm it down. Records are made to be.
They ready to fight for you.
Calm down. Records are made to be. And I didn't even know I had it. So I'm like, okay, it's all good, you guys. That's what we train for. You train. There's something out there that you're shooting for, and that's a record. I don't know if she was shooting for the record. She was shooting for a time, and she got it. So now she's going to put something out there, and that's going to inspire somebody else to go and get it.
We just did an interview with Masai yesterday. She showed you so much love.
Oh, I love her. I love her.
And she said what changed for her is the fact that she physically knows she could do it, but she mentally never was there. And the mental came into effect this year for her. And she said, now I know I can do it because I'm there now.
And that makes it, see, that's what I tell people. It's you can have all the potential in the world and you can get out there, but if you're not there, it's going to hold you back. That's that wedge that you got to kick out of the way. That's you closing the door on your own potential. And once you can get over that and understand that, you're here for a reason, and yes, once you get to that point and once you make it, there's a big target on your back.
Always.
There's a big target all the time. And you have to center yourself, and what gets you there keeps you there. Mm-hmm. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep plugging away. And finding, I know you're your own best critic. Mm-hmm. We're harder on ourselves than anybody else can ever be. Because I know people are like, you just broke this record. Why do you have that scowl on your face? I'm like, because I'm looking at the replay and I didn't do that right. I didn't do that right. Yep. But the positive of that, I'll smile in a minute, is that if I finish a race and I did everything right, it's time to retire.
True.
If I look at a race and I can find mistakes that I've done, I know I can get better.
Man, it keeps you.
So you was making mistakes for 20 years because you're a 5-time Olympian. She like, oh, I can't retire yet.
No.
Oh, I can't do what I did. Oh, I ain't going nowhere. Now.
We got to go back to the Olympics. Let's
go. So even, there's a story out there, right?
Okay.
Even when you did retire, I don't know, you could correct me, I think it's 2007. Mm-hmm. They said you were coaching. You were in your coaching reins, and I think you had like a little pro group or an older group.
Yes.
And you was trying to teach the girls, hey, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. And then you was like, you know what? I'm going to enter the same meet as you in Melrose, and I'm going to show you what you need to do.
Stop.
This is at 40 years old, guys.
That's not how it happened for
real,
And then
she won Melrose.
No. So how it happened was, they always say, okay, I get it when you run with me. And this is in practice. So I'm like, we're in practice. We're good. Okay. So we're in practice, And then they were like, well, why don't you enter the meet? I'm like, why would I enter the meet? I'm not trying to run.
This as a coach, she retired.
I was like, I'm not trying to run. I want you guys to enter the meet. And everybody, the goal is if you run the meet, you're going to run faster than you've ever run your first time out. That's the goal. And your first opener. So they convinced me to get in the meet. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to call the guy, but I'm going to let you know, if I'm in the meet, I'm not in the meet as your coach. I'm running.
So
they understood that. So we're good. So I ran the race, and I remember, how we always have to come to like a press conference or whatever. So I come to a press conference. I'm 40 years old, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, so you're here to run the Masters?" I'm like, hold up. I kind of take offense to that. I'm like, no. I'm here to run my race, and so just running the race we all fared very well then in that race, and you just keep it moving, go back, and then that was just a moment in time. Though I was not.
Now wait, guys, let me explain this. She's saying fared very well. She ended up winning that section of the Melrose Games in 786, which is still the Masters record to this day. This is still the Masters record. So she talked about, oh yeah, I fared pretty well. Now remember, people train, go through a whole fall to achieve these times. This girl got up off the couch. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you get him in a running. I'm gonna go in this meet as Gail Devers and show you what you need to do.
You make it sound so bad.
No shade to those ladies. I mean,
we all ran very well. They ran well. It was like their fastest opener. We did good.
This lady is legendary. So
you ran against athletes you trained as well? Like you lined up with them athletes in that race?
Oh, yeah, they only have 6, yeah.
I need to know, what was the warm-up like? Since you came as Gail Devers, were you like, yeah, you know what to do?
No. We're together. It's a family thing. It's all good. But, but people don't understand. Even in the camp, when I did compete, Florence, Jackie, everybody, Jackie and I are great friends. And we can warm up together. We can do whatever. But when we step on the line, okay, Jackie who? Yeah. Gail who? Mm-hmm. And when we're done, you want to go shopping? It is what it is. Yeah. You got to keep it in perspective.
Right. You speak about training with, you call her name so casually because you know her personally, but I don't know if our crowd would get that. She's talking about Florence Griffin Joyner, who she trained with. You have your nails. Were your nails influenced by her? Because she is older than you.
Yes. No, and it's funny because when like I said, I wasn't recruited by Bobby. And when I finally came to UCLA and they said, okay, they were going to let me out of my letter of intent. And I said, let me pray on it. I prayed on it. And I said, no, for some reason, this is the place I'm supposed to be. And then they hired Bob Kersee. I didn't know who Bobby was. I'm like, Bob Kersee, that's a weird name. I was like, I didn't know who he was, didn't know what he looked like. I knew nothing. And then when I first meet him was 84. We had Junior Olympics or whatever we had at the same place in Los Angeles where they had the games. So I met him, and I remember Valerie brought me down to him. And when I met him, he was cursing out Jackie. I was like, okay, this is going to be my coach. All right, I'm going to make sure I do what I'm supposed to do so I don't get cursed out. But, and when he first saw me, he held my hand and he said, not another one. So I've always, like, when I was little, I used to bite my fingernails. I mean, I'm like it's food. And then my dad, who's a minister, used to always try to get me to stop biting your nails. My mom had long, pretty nails, and I was like, oh, she said, if you keep them out your mouth, you'd be fine. And so my dad, nothing worked, like hot sauce, all of that stuff. I was like, ooh, now we just got flavor.
Little flavor to it.
So he appealed to my competitive nature. And he said, for 1 month, we're gonna grow our nails and see. And I'm like, my dad's a minister. Now you're gonna grow one pinky nail. That ain't gonna look right. But, see? Well, that's what he did. Okay? So, and I was like, I am not letting this man beat me. Just not gonna happen. And that was the competitiveness. And then after that, they grew. And I was like, my mom said, as long as you keep them clean, you're fine to have them. And she made me keep them probably like this length. In high school, I see some pictures now that they were probably like this. But the reason they got to be like curly fries is because for that 2.5, 3 years that it took me to get back on the track, I let my nails grow for 3 years at a time, taking care of them, because the longer it took me to polish them, the longer it took them to dry was a sign mentally for me that I'm okay. So I let them grow. So people are like, what is the story with these talons that you have instead of nails? And that's the story. That's why.
And you started like this.
I did. I started on and I still do that. Even when, because I'll cut them now.
That's a thug story.
You know, they see GD, they think Gangster Disciples, but it's Gail Devers. You realize? That's good.
I still do it because I'll cut my nails like this. If something happens traumatic, I'll cut them all the way off and start over, cut my hair all the way off and start over, because I'm just a believer now that if you take care of it, it will grow again. And that's just a mental thing with me. So they can be no nails and I'm out there coaching and they're like blocks. I'm like, well, somebody else showed them how you start. Like, put your hands down. So we're going to do it like that. But don't watch Coach Gail because this is how I do it. And then some of the kids are like, I'm going to try it. Oh, that hurts. I'm like, you're going to have to get Thug Life. I always tell me, it's got to be Thug Life. You're going to have to get some knuckles that's for real.
Yeah. So you have two beautiful daughters, right?
I do.
Carson?
Carson with a K and an E.
And then
Legacy. Yes.
Do you see yourself in them as in like the person who steps up to the challenge and the athleticism as well?
They're so different. I mean, they are
Our kids, they so different, aren't they?
They are so different. Like Carson, first of all, I never thought this child would ever compete or do anything sport-wise. She's like, school. They were sending me stuff that I'm like, do they know you still have 2 years in school? She said, yeah, well, I can graduate. I'm like, okay. So, she graduated like a 4.3. This is like brainiac. So she got to high school and she's like, when did you start competing? I said, I was 15. Okay, I'm gonna start at 14. Like, okay, so the competitive, I was like, okay, interesting. I said, this child ain't doing nothing. She comes home, brings me this paper, says, can you sign this? I'm like, what is it? She said, I want to play football. I'm like, Carson, go sit down somewhere. She said, well, they won't let me play the football with the boys, but I think I can, but I want to go ahead and play flag. I was like, whatever. I signed it. She goes out there and I'm like, couldn't catch cold. I was like, this is going to be interesting. They put her at like D lineman and she was like, why did they have me? I said, because they must think you have some speed. She said the first day the coach said, okay, I want everybody to start on the line and I want you to just run to it's like a hedge of trees or whatever. I want you to run to the hills and then turn around. I'm going to throw you the ball. She said, I got there. I know he didn't want me to go through it. I turned around and waited. He didn't throw the ball. I'm like, well, if he would have thrown it, you wouldn't have caught it anyway. But he figured out that she was fast. But her D-line, I said, all they want you to do is just kind of disrupt what's going on, make that quarterback a little bit nervous, or if you can get in there and pull the flags. So she did that, ended up loving it. Girl ended up that year, 14 touchdowns, 1,400 all-purpose yards, just playing. And she got scholarship offers from the school that had been the only 2-time flag football champion. But she said, I think I want to run track. I was like, uh-oh. Okay, interesting. So she went from flag to lacrosse and then track. I'm like, you're doing flag and lacrosse at the same time. It is what it is with her. She's an overachiever. And then she got to track and, she kind of just started figuring it out. She got injured. She ended up getting injured. I said, I think you're so explosive and your body's just not used to and not able to handle that. But I don't want you doing weights. Mm-hmm. We're going to wait till you get to college. So there's some upside to you. And whatever college you go to, you're going to be their project. I said, Uncle Bobby said, because she always talks to him. And I said, Uncle Bobby told me I was a diamond in the rough, really, really rough. So I guess you like under rough, like you might be worse than me. So she's figuring it out. She's at UGA now and she's figuring it out. But I do see that if she ever puts that I always tell kids that practice is rehearsal for the main event. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you're like putting in, like you can't go to an ATM and take money out if you didn't put nothing in.
True.
So you got to put some work in. And that's what she's doing now. And then eventually that equation is going to be 2 + 2 + 2 is going to equal 6. Right now, sometimes I see her get out the blocks and I'm like, okay. And then sometimes she waits for an invitation to get out the blocks. But I've also seen her not get out the blocks and then close. I'm like, so I think from that aspect, I think she's better than me. I used to get out there and try to help her and train. And I'm like, I ain't stepping in the blocks with you. No more. I'm not going to run a 150 with you. No more. I'm like, I know when to stay in my lane and that's my lane. So, and then Legacy's in the 11th grade now. And, I don't think she wanted to do the events that Carson did. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, oh, I need a sprinter. So you're going to do it anyway. So, she went out and she's doing well. She's figuring out, they're just little. They're like little itty bitty, like she tore her growth plate or whatever it was. And so she had an avulsion to her growth thing. So she's coming back. But mentality wise, I think Legacy is really mean. I mean, like Carson says, she needs hug therapy. She mean. So I'm like, my husband and I say she got the worst part of us because she's just that one. She doesn't care. She had Kawasaki's disease. So we almost lost her when she was younger. Wow. And I think going through that, she has a mentality that she don't care. Wow. And she's just going to get there. Carson's my kumbaya child. She wants everybody to get along and everybody should in world peace and whatever. And she's learning that you still got to take care of yourself and be there. So she's learning the hard way, but I'll be very curious. Like I said, I told them I stand back and awe and watch what God has in store for you guys, because I think it's great.
I'm definitely gonna watch your daughter.
So their last name is Phillips, though, and that's why a lot of people didn't know that they were my kids.
Reason being, you said she's gonna be better than you. I don't know the last time you Googled yourself, but you gotta scroll up and then scroll up and then scroll up. Because the list is long. You gotta do this a couple times.
I don't say that because they're my daughters either. Because I told them when Carson was young, I said, you're either gonna be really something or really irritating. Right now, you're really irritating. I said, so you gonna get to that point. And we tell Legacy, you're gonna take some boxing lessons because you're really mean. So,
well, if Legacy is at UGA, she's in good hands with Carol anyway.
Well, so. Carson's at UGA.
Carson,
Legacy's still in school. Legacy's gonna. She'll probably get there too.
Oh, okay, cool.
I gotta take some advice from you when it comes to Legacy, because my son, his godson,
yes,
he the mean one.
See,
he only 3, so he the mean one.
Is he the? See, I don't even know why.
He real mean though.
My big one.
That's what I'm saying. It's always that other one, and maybe because like I was beat up by my brother, so maybe that has something to do with it. I can't say that with Carson because Carson's that lovey person, and she'll come and try to hug Legacy, and she's like, "Get off me." I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Or they'll be like, when Carson was at home, Carson would be in Legacy's room because they're like best friends, and she's talking, and then I'll get a text on my message say they call me edamame. I'm like, you do know that's a vegetable, right? I'll get a text saying, "Come here," and I'll go in Legacy's room, and she's like, "Okay, you can take your daughter now." I'm like, "Huh?" She said, "She's been in here too long. She's got to go." I was like, "Oh my gosh, it don't." So yeah, let him be mean. You know what?
Yeah.
Life, sometimes you got to have that side so people don't take advantage of you.
True.
You know, and then you got to learn. I mean, I sent Carson to school and I said, you know, at 5, I said, make friends, da-da-da-da-da. I sent Legacy to school. Don't hit nobody. Don't, you know. So it is what it is. They're just different.
That's Jax.
And we just got to deal with it. See?
That is him.
I like that, Jax.
Yeah. That's Jax. See, the kids in his class already, they'll come in and be like, Jack's dad, Jax is so mean already. So I'm like, he got that fire in him.
He does.
That fire in him.
Tell him Auntie Gay said it's okay.
I got you.
We ask this question to a lot of the greats that come through. Just want to hear what you would like to say on this. You've been a part of many gold medal 4x1 teams. What's your dream 4x1 from this time? You have to be in it this year, and you have to put them in order. This times of females, like this group of females of this time, and then a group of females from your time or all time.
Okay, wait. So it can't be everybody. It's got to be the new school
versus old school.
Okay, yeah. New booty, old booty.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's a tough one. Okay, new school. I mean, Shelly Ann's still new school though.
That gotta be American.
Oh, American. Oh, God.
And then you could do an international one because you know
she's the track queen. She could do it.
Oh yeah, you know what? You could do whatever. Don't mind me.
Okay,
now
wait.
You track queen. Now
you got me stumped. Now I gotta think.
And you have to be on it.
I have to be on the old school one.
On both of them.
On both.
All of them. You got to put it in order too.
Oh, come on now. Look, I got 2 steps left, so we're going to have 5 people on this relay.
No. This is, we talking about 1081, Gail.
Okay.
We talking about 1081.
Okay, hold on. I don't know, you guys. Okay, give me some names, because...
You got Evelyn.
From the past?
From the past.
Okay, okay, we're doing the past.
Overall, through the history of track and field, you can pick any names you want.
Yeah, let's just do that then.
Okay.
Evelyn Ashford, Florence Griffith, and Wyoming Tyus. I'm the coach.
Yay. She said, I'm the coach.
No, you got to be on it.
What's the order? I want to know the order, though. That's a tight.
Let me see. I'm going to put Florence 3rd.
Okay.
Evelyn's always going to... I don't know. Evelyn or
Hey, I seen
Wilma.
Evelyn finish, boy.
To anchor,
flying,
right?
boy.
Yeah, Evelyn or Wilma to finish. Oh, my goodness. You guys. I'm going to put Wyoming or Ty so Ty can do her tighten up when she gets on the line. So she can start it off to That's a tough one, you guys. That's wrong.
No, it's not.
You guys are wrong. Ooh, I don't know.
We're gonna put you on the backstretch.
Yeah, we're gonna put you on the back.
Relay
Me?
set.
I don't want to run. That's too many people.
What we're gonna do is we like that one. We probably have to come back to the other one.
Yeah.
You have to use 3 girls from this time, and you have to be on it and put it in.
Anybody. You picked Shelly Ann, so you got to pick 2
Yeah,
more.
they got to be from this time.
Oh gosh. I mean, you got. Okay, let me. Well, obviously,
Oh,
Sha'Carri. Oh, Sha'Carri.
What leg?
Well, they're gonna give her a lead, but do I want to see her go and get somebody? I like when she does that and look to the side. Like, let me see if I'm gonna put her anchor or we're gonna let her go get somebody on second. Okay, let's let her go anchor because I like when she finishes. Okay, let's keep her anchor. Let's put Okay, give me names. I'm like stumped
You
now.
said Shelly Ann. Where would you put Shelly Ann at? Out the hole?
I want
Mommy Rocket out the
Mommy
hole?
Rocket out the hole.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, she's
So
out
now
the hole.
you got to be on either second or third. So which leg you running?
Oh gosh, hold on, wait a minute. Oh gosh. I want to be the coach. I don't want to run.
No, you got to run
Why?
because you were good at it.
But you said it's my world, so I want to be the coach.
But then you the coach.
Okay.
Well, then you the coach. You the coach then.
She
You
the coach, damn it.
You
I
the
want to be the
dog.
coach.
Yep. Go ahead,
Okay,
coach.
so we got Shelly Ann, we got Sha'Carri. But then, we got that USA Jamaica kind of thing. So I got to blend that team. I got to go
Okay.
2 and 2. So I got to pick 2. But I can't pick 2. And then I got Julian, Alfred.
But you gonna put Julian.
We got too many relays.
Oh, you got one more to go. You already picked Julian. That's
Okay,
3.
so we're going country by country. So I got somebody from US, got somebody from Jamaica. Okay, so I got one more.
Somebody from St. Louis.
I got to
right?
find somebody else. Okay, we got St. Louis.
So where Julian at? Second or third?
Jingo second.
Second. So we got
I like her
Shelly
at second.
to Julian to.
Okay, so I can't go Jamaica. Can't go to US anymore. I got to find somebody else.
I love it. She be making her own rules.
Wait, okay.
I got one to give her.
Okay,
She
give
on
me
a good
somebody.
break.
Go
Give me
ahead.
somebody.
Go ahead.
Shoot, she trained with Julian. Dina
Dina
Asher.
Asher.
Dina
Oh,
Asher.
It's funny because
She
I was
runs a
thinking, I was
really
like, we
good
got to go
third
Great
leg.
Bird. Yes.
She runs a really
That's a
good
good
third
one.
leg. She runs
Okay,
a really
that's the
good
relay.
There it
And
is.
we
Relay.
taking on anybody else in the world. We got this.
Okay.
Platinum medal. They got to make up a medal for us because we've surpassed goal. Both of those relays.
World record.
Yeah, world record.
I don't know, man. I still that world record team from 2012.
I don't know, man. All them at their primes.
But Tiana, Allison.
We got
Bianca,
new shoes though.
and
My
Jet.
10-6 out the hole.
Tiana's 10-7 out the hole.
10-6 out the hole. You right.
10-7. Allison is 10-9. So,
Who on the backstretch? Who's
What?
on the backstretch? Julian. That's 10-7.
but Allison's
back
still
stretch.
21 low, so they probably stretched us on really long.
You're right.
But
Julian also
Julian can
runs
run a
200. She run a 200 too.
Yeah.
All right. You put Dina Asher on third.
Bianca could hold on, man.
All right. Okay. Sha'Carri on anchor.
10-6, 10-6, boy. And on the list, Carmelita's above her.
Okay.
Carmelita's above
Okay, so let me
her.
tell you, we're going to come down to the wire and I'm going to teach them how to trip finish. We got this.
There it is.
Very, very good. Another question. What was your favorite race, 100 meters and 100-meter hurdles in all of your whole career?
Oh, which actual race?
Yeah, race.
Ooh.
Win or lose?
I don't know. You know what? I'm actually going to say my fall over the hurdles
That's your favorite?
because it taught me that I can get up.
You know what?
And my career was not over. My career is not defined by a race. Nobody can tell me that I wasn't successful in that race. And it made me go back to the drawing board and say, you know what? Do I want this more? Am I willing to keep training? And I was. Because before that race, I've been like, oh, I'm going to win this and then I'm done. I'm going to go on and do whatever else I'm going to do. And that made me come back. So, I mean, favorite, I don't know if I have a favorite, but if I have to pick a defining moment in my career for the hurdles, that was my defining
You
moment.
probably was listening to Donnie McClurkin back then. We fall
Hey,
down,
yes. We get up. That's right. And 100 meters, I would say, I guess it's the same year, 92, because that was my first win. And that was me not winning the race, but winning in life. It was winning, saying that I could come back. It was after the 2.5, 3 year struggle of being told that you're making this up. It's in your head. Maybe you're a washed up athlete. Are you on drugs? Are you anorexic? Are you this? Are you that? Why do you look that way? And I was able to come back and find love for myself again. And from then on, I'm like, nobody defines me. I define myself.
I love that. I love that. So
I definitely.
I always say my nickname is Gay, so I tell people it's a gay thing you don't have to understand.
You know, when I Googled you, I didn't know that your first name, I don't know even know.
But it's not. She died. I got rid of that name. Yolanda, that is not
Okay.
my name. My legal name is Gail Devers. And let me tell you why. Because when I used to go to Europe, so I was born, my mother, don't know why, because she never called me that, Yolanda Gail Devers. But then when everybody called me Gail growing up. That's all anybody has ever, Gail or Stormy, that's my nickname.
So the only time you ever heard Yolanda is when you were sitting in school.
In math, Mr. Ridgway, 7th grade. I'm like, and he said Yolanda. That's not the name. And I used to try to spell it different and everything. So when we would go to Europe to run, I always got stopped in customs because they would see the nail. Oh, Gail Devers, da 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 da. And then they look at the thing. I'm like, it still says Gail on there, but it was always an issue. And I'm like, and because I had insomnia, I never got to a meet 2 days before. I would probably come in at 12 midnight, getting ready to run the meet the next day.
Wow.
Because if I was there so long, it's like, why? I don't sleep, so I don't need to be here. So I was always like very timely. I timed my warm-up, time how long I'm gonna sign autographs, when I'm gonna go to the bathroom. So me coming in and you keeping me detained in
Mess up the whole flow of everything.
Everything.
So you said, I'm just going to change it.
I talked to my mom for a long time, and she was like, I thought you had changed that a long time ago. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you. So
Mom was like, ooh, my bad.
Yeah. So in our family, we always say, oh yeah, she passed away. So Yolanda passed away, and it's just Gail. That is my legal name, Gail Devers. I don't have a middle name. That's me. So yeah. Okay. So I laugh when people, that's like, I was at an event and somebody said, Yolanda. I'm like, that's not me. So they were like, she's not talking to me. That's not my name. My name is Gail.
So what is 5 Olympics? What's your favorite? Because, I try to tell people the Olympics are like your kids. Mm-hmm. All of them are different. You've been to them. You cherish them. Right. But they all mean something different to you. Because they're all different phases of your life in some way.
I would say my second Olympic Games, which was 92. And it's just because that was, like I said, that was defining for me. Mm-hmm. That was, yes, I can come back. 96 was setting goals. Like, when you reach a pinnacle at that point, that's like our Super Bowl. And then to set a goal to say that I want to come back and working. And I remember that was in Atlanta. I didn't live in Atlanta at that time. And they had that meet because they had built a new stadium and they had a meet in May. And I was injured. I had a lot of injuries and illnesses in my whole career. And so to come to that meet, Bobby was like, okay, we can't take any time. We just got to go and see what happens, see what we need to work on. So I went to that meet. I think I came in like 5th or 6th or something like that. And I remember walking through the press afterwards and somebody made a statement. They're like, oh, wow, she doesn't even look like she's going to make the team. Let's no defend her title. Mm. And usually I don't say anything. And I turned around, I said, if this had been the Olympic trials and that happened, you could say that. Let's wait till next month. And I walked away. Usually I don't ever say anything, but I'm like, stop judging people. Stop making, everybody don't, like my mom said, if you don't have anything nice to say, be quiet. So everybody doesn't have to hear your opinion, for real. Because you don't know what negative words, what that effect has on. I do a lot of work with little kids, and I go and I take a piece of paper and I tell them, okay, for every negative thing that you said, that's a crinkle. So we ball up the paper. By the end, that paper is balled up. And then I told you what you did, and you're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, we'll spread it out. Oh, I spread it out. Okay, we spread it out. We can even iron it, but you never get all those wrinkles out. And you never know what you say to someone, what effect it may have on them. And so either watch what you say or be willing to deal with the consequences. Like I tell Legacy, be willing to deal with the consequences. But, and I tell people, You can ask me anything. Now, you may not like my answer, but I will give it to you because you asked. But I'm not going to volunteer it.
Yeah. We are, for our fans that don't know, we are on the site of Athlos, the first inaugural event, all-female track meet. What do you think about this happening and somebody who is not close to track and field putting it on, Mr. Alexis Ohanian? What do you think about
I think it's awesome. I think, when I heard about it, I said, I got to get behind this, first of all, because, there was a time that they said women could not compete. It's like we're not strong enough or whatever. We weren't supposed to do that. And then even in the Olympics, it was little bits of things. You couldn't do distance. You couldn't do this. And then with Tidal IX, Tidal IX passed, but it was just passed. It took till like 78 or whatever before it was like, no, girls have the same rights as boys. And I think this meet, first of all, that is all female. There used to be a commercial that says, I can bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan. So anyway, it's like, it's that we can carry a meet that's all female.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's powerful. What does Athlos mean? It means excellence and triumph. I think that these ladies out here, the speed, you got the best of the best in the world that's out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to get out there and they're going to put on a show. They're going to show up and show out. And that it came from someone who himself is not, in the sport. But look who he's married to. And happy birthday to his wife today. I thought it was fitting that today is Serena's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday to Serena.
It's her birthday today. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. I wonder if they did that on purpose. But if you think about it, he's married to a very strong person who had to deal with, think about all that she had to go through in her sport.
From the moment she came into the sport.
From the moment she came in.
Yes.
All the good, the bad, and the ugly that she had to deal with. And she was willing to do that to make strides. She's the shoulder that others stand on. And I don't know what made them look at track and field and say, that this is a niche that needs some help. But I say thank you. And I say to them, if there's anything that I can do to lend my name and my support, because I think, you talk about the prize money. And then I love the give back. The 10%. And that's what it's about. What distinguishes people is not race, creed, or color. It's access and opportunity.
Yes.
So what they are doing for women right now is giving access and opportunity. And what happens when somebody gives you a chance, they're opening the door for you. You're supposed to open that door and stick your foot in, your booty in, whatever, and wedge it open and bring others with you. And that's what they're showing us. And that's what the give back is. That's the opportunity that they're giving these athletes. You want better. I've always said, why did we have to go to Europe? Back when we ran, at that time, it was the US that was dominating.
Mm-hmm.
But we had to go across the water, get acclimated, and run against it. Why didn't they come here? And I always said I would love to see great competition right here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've got that. That's that access and opportunity. And we have to keep that going. And we have to get behind anyone who's trying to help. From you running, the dollars and how it's changed. And there's people who used to run, if there's 9 lanes, all 9 lanes weren't getting a lot of money. Sometimes the money that they got, their ticket costs more.
Some of them just on the line hoping they can make something. Yeah.
And so for this to be that everyone is getting, it's only 6 lanes and everybody's getting something, then they're all going to get a 10% back, a give back. I think that's an awesome concept. And anybody who hears about it needs to be about it and help out.
Yeah, I agree, man. It was such a monumental moment. We sat down with Alexis and we talked about it, and just hearing the fire and the passion in his voice about creating this and what it meant, not only for him, but for his kids.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That was, and he said it a long time ago. He said it many episodes ago. It's going to take somebody outside of our sport to see what the changes need to be made.
That's right.
And make those changes for us.
I agree, because we've had people to try it from the inside, and this is like somebody, like you said, somebody looking out from the outside inside and saying, wow, why don't they do this if they did this? I mean, you even watch, if you pull up the information on it, how you see the names and then you press on it and the half of the name lights up and you press on it, then it gives you information about all of that. It's top notch. I mean, this is past gold medal. I mean, just everything that he is doing and his team is doing is world class.
What do you think the difference between your era and competing in this era now?
Boy, because they running fast too, boy. They fast.
The difference, yeah. I mean, there's some, well, you know, back in the day, as Legacy says, back in the day, world records were like far and few in between. And now it's like, I mean, it's more exciting now. And I think that's due to like the coverage and how you're understanding and you get to understand and you can have your favorite, but you don't know what's going to happen. I love to see old school still running with young school because young school don't care. They're trying to retire you. Oh, yeah. And I love it because that's what it's about. You know, you had your fan favorites when we competed, you know, and you knew that we had to bring our A+ game. Mm-hmm. Now it's just that I think they're learning more about themselves too. And they're getting, like you said, with Masai, they're getting that confidence that it's like, okay, you know what? I don't care who steps in, but that's their mentality. The young ones have that mentality that I don't care. I don't care who you are. I'm going to get on the line and I'm going for it. So it's fun to watch. I even love, I mean, I am now a fan of my sport, which I wasn't able to do that when I ran. I just was in the hotel going through. You saw me coming through, going out, you know, but now I'm a fan of my sport. I get to watch the sport. I love every race. I mean, I watch the 10,000 and I'm like cheering. And I watch the throwing events and everything. And I just think it's really exciting now. The backstories that you guys are allowing fans to connect with those people. And it doesn't matter. Everybody has a story to tell. And what I love about what you guys do is that you bring people on that we get to see the personal side of them, because otherwise, you see them for 10, 11, 12 seconds, however long they're on the... And that's all you know. That's it. And like people used to tell me, they're like, you look so mean. I'm like, I'm really one of the nicest people that I know.
I'm
like,
all they know is your game face.
And I'm like, that's my job. Yeah. I'm at my job, my 9 to 5, and it's serious because if I work for 4 years to get on this track and I only have less than 11 seconds in the 100 or less than 13 seconds in the hurdles and I don't get it done, you'll be the first one talking about me. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to be on the line smiling. That's not what I do. Now, afterwards, I will sign autographs all day long and I will smile and whatever. But people didn't get to know that and they didn't know our personalities. So then they get to meet you and talk to you. And even this, people are like, you are funny. I'm like, I'm not really funny. I'm just me. But, but they get to see a side of you that they never saw because they either thought I was so mean because all they saw of me was straight face. When I come down on the elevator, it's time to go to work.
Facts. We have a dime every time we see a comment in the comments about, I didn't know how funny Justin Gatlin was. I didn't know he was like this, or why we hated him for so long. We get that. It's so crazy. No, I mean, it's true. I'm telling you, every episode, every short, you have one comment like that. And I think we are on this is like episode 61 or something like that. That's hilarious. And from the beginning all the way
71,
to
actually.
71.
Oh, wow. Congrats.
It's like we've seen that in every one, which is crazy. So
and I think for me, even starting all this with the crew and the family, their family, and I did this because he has so much knowledge, so much passion for the sport. I was like, man, we have talks like this just on the couch.
That's cool.
So it was like, man, we put a camera in front of us, this would be amazing. But the fact is, it allowed me, it was therapeutic for me to sit there and watch people say, man, I didn't even know this side of you. I didn't know you had this dynamic. Because you don't get to show that side of you.
When we see you, you're warming up.
Yeah.
And then you're running and then you're cooling down or getting treatment or whatever. And then you're gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So we appreciate
this is cool.
you.
No, thank you. Thank you guys for what you do. Keep it up. I mean, any way I can support, I would love to do this. And I love that you're doing this. Like you said, not just for therapy, but because it's being interviewing an athlete by an athlete. there are questions that you know, because you know the behind the scenes, how you felt, how you were there as a coach, what you guys had to do. You know what I'm saying? Just there's so much to this that can bring information and foresight and open up a whole world that the world didn't know was there. And so congratulations to you guys. Can't wait till you get your 100th. Get to 100. That's a cool moment. But thank you for allowing me to come on and to be a part of this. And
we appreciate you.
Well, Gail, we definitely appreciate you. I know he don't follow you, but I mean, I follow you.
You are hilarious.
I mean, so he like a fake fan.
Man, you gonna share?
But
Come on, man.
But this is your camera. We want you to tell.
Ask one more quick. Dream race one race you talk yourself into.
What'd I do? Hong, I don't know about you sitting over there coming up with all these questions.
So I'm gonna give you a little backstory on our crew.
Okay.
When we came together, they knew nothing about track and
Zero.
field.
Nothing
about track and field.
You guys gonna put us on blast?
They do.
No,
Yes. So
this is a good thing, though.
That F1, they follow F1, Formula One. They follow basketball, and they follow football. But track and field, they knew nothing.
That's hilarious.
Nothing. And they're spoiled because this is their meets they went to this year. They went to World Relays, which is the big event.
Yes.
They went to Races Grand Prix in Jamaica.
Okay.
Which is the big event.
Very cultured.
Then they went to the Olympics.
The Olympics.
Wow.
And now they're here at Atlas.
Okay, you guys got like, okay.
Spoiled.
I like
all
it.
top tier. I was like, all track meets ain't like this. We got some like
you have to
racy
go
dink
to
joints.
the like
and
circuit.
So they love the fact that they're gaining so much knowledge from it. So we'll sit and be having casual conversation, and one of them be like, so such and such and such and such. So they're throwing stats at us, and they're always constantly learning and thinking about it because they realize that our sport is the purest sport.
Yeah.
It's about whoever's ready on that day. And everyone has to be 100% ready to make their dream come true. And if you don't, you got to reset everything, go out there and do it again. You can't hide behind an offensive line.
Right.
You can't be able to throw the ball to the center. He makes a layup.
Yeah, this is true individual sport.
Exactly. Yeah. So they're learning, and he's a fan of the sport a lot.
That's cool. Okay,
So
Mr. Hahn.
he's gonna want to know what would you put yourself in a dream race? As in a sense, if there was already a lineup, what race would you put yourself in?
You're Gail. You're in shape Gail.
Let's see. That's not a fair question to me because I would hop in any race. I don't care.
You gave the same
Put
answer.
me in the 800, put me in the 400, put me in the hurdles. I just be curious to see what I could do.
This must be the Bobby Kersee effect. Because remember Don?
Yeah.
Don is like,
the same thing.
I beat them girls today. Shoot, put me.
More so against I guess for me, my favorite lineup was watching the 2020 because you had Sharika, Elaine, and Shelly. And you put one race that has already been raced. What race would you want? Like for Justin, he said 2012 because it was Asafa, Usain, Tyson.
Oh yeah, well, we want the best race. So
what would be that race for you?
Put me in all the world record races that they did the hurdles. Put me in on a leg of whatever relay, or put me. I don't even have to be on a relay. Just put me on the side with the relay, and I want to go after. I want to start the same time that the last person gets the baton and see what I can do.
You just love to compete. That's what it is. She ain't got to be in the race.
She ain't got to be in the race.
I'm in lane 10. Put me lane 11. I'm good.
She wanted with the little camera on the side. But that's good. That's good. You got your answer? All right. So this is your camera, Gail. You tell if you have any PSAs.
My PSA.
Yeah, I mean to the kids or to. I mean you've been through so much. You've taught Justin and I so much just in this episode. You already know I love you. But
she made me cry. So
I was crying on the inside. But so give people your ad on Instagram and any PSAs you have. That's your camera.
Instagram. Okay, my face or X or whatever it is, and Instagram. My thing is I'm Gail Devers. Now, why is it? Because when I started this social media thing, there were a whole bunch of Gail Devers. I'm like, you're not Gail Devers, I'm Gail Devers. So that's what it is. I'm Gail Devers. So that's how you find me. Follow me, I'll follow you back. I'll figure it out if I can press the right buttons. I'm sorry if I mess it up because I'm still learning. This is totally different for me. I am just a firm believer that believe in yourself, regardless of what other people believe about you. If you're in Atlanta, March 22nd, this will be our 3rd annual GDI, which is the Gail Devers Invitational. We have cool medals. That's what the kids always tell me. They're like, those are better than the ones we got at state. So, and I've teamed up with Coach O, who does a lot of like little kid stuff, and we're going to be doing some things. I have a foundation called Gail Force Foundation. The Force stands for Focus on Respect, Commitment, and Excellence. And my nickname is Stormy, so if you ever see, you'll start to see like our emblem. It's a kind of like a caricature of myself. I'm Stormy, and our tagline is the force behind the storm. So my goal is to partner with anyone who is doing things that are positive, that we can come together. Everybody doesn't have to have separate things. We can all come together and make a bigger difference. So I don't know what else.
What location where is your track meet going to be held?
The track meet is it's a city called Lawrenceville. It's like Lawrenceville / Beaufort, Georgia, at a high school called Mountain View High School this year. And so if you're in town, because I told Gwen, Christy, all of they were mad at me because I didn't invite them last year just because it was Olympic year and I knew everybody was doing some stuff. But Queen, all of them have to come this year.
We're going to pull up. We pulling up.
And so if there's, I'm going to beg for a second. I would love to partner with a sponsor that will help us make this something big. That is something that we can, we have a middle school showcase eventually, and it can be not just in one city. We'll find the fastest tracks and go to the fastest tracks. This year, we'll have a GDI record board. And wherever we take the meet, the record board goes with us. I wasn't just one person in one space. I was all over the world, all over the United States, and that's the way I would like to take this meet. So, but I want sponsorships who believe in that. We can do clinics, we can do stuff. I think our goal, if you've been there, done that, our goal is to help those that are coming behind us do it better.
Absolutely.
I think you being a former Nike athlete, man, y'all need to step up, man. Send that bag, man. Help Gail out, man. It's a little care package and a little bit of money, man. She was on that podium on the top with the swoosh on. Let's see what we could do.
Listen, I don't know about
came
them.
from the bearded one. The beard is called wisdom.
I have no stake in the game, so it don't matter to me.
Listen, you give us your information before you leave out. I'd love to be a part of it. I'd love to donate to what you're doing. I think it's amazing. The youth is our future.
Yes.
And the things that we need to change in our sport, we need to be the change first.
There you go. So, I love it. Thank 100%. You. Thank you guys again for allowing me to have a voice and to talk about all this. And I talked about my Graves' disease. And so 30 years I talked about that I still have blurry vision. So 30 years after, I was wondering why I started having problems driving at nighttime. I'm too young to be not driving at nighttime. So 30 years plus afterwards, I was diagnosed with thyroid eye disease, which is related but separate. And so I always tell people, if you have an autoimmune disorder, if you have Graves' disease, pay attention to your eyes because it's separate and you have to be treated separate. And so I've been living, I call him Ted. I've been living with him so long, he needs a name. But now Ted is at bay too, but everything that I've gone through in my life, I'm thankful because it's made me me. And now what I think is no one else should have to suffer. And the only way to alleviate that suffering is to educate. And so we talked about the relay so much. I recruit relay runners. But now what's in this baton is knowledge. Knowledge in the field of health, knowledge in the field of clinics, helping other people, knowledge in the field of just helping people be the best them that they can be because we have one life to live. And we all deserve the quality of life. So thank you guys so much for allowing me to be here and to have a voice. As you can see, I do have the gift of gab, but I love you guys.
We do too.
Right.
We do too.
Thank you guys so much for being with us. We are on site at Athlos. So when this comes out, we were here at this meet. Join us again on our next episode of Ready, Set, Go!
I love that. I like that. I like that.